Most people believe banks exist to help them grow their money. That belief alone may be the most expensive mistake they ever make. From the moment you open your first savings account, a silent system starts working, not in your favor, but in the bank's. The rules of money are real, powerful, and deliberately underexplained. If you were taught them early, you would question everything about debt, savings, interest, and wealth. Today, we're exposing the hidden money rules banks won't tell you, and how understanding them can change your financial future. Banks don't make money by storing cash. They make money by controlling behavior. Your habits, your fears, your lack of financial education. These are the raw materials of the banking system. The truth is uncomfortable, but once you understand how money actually works, you stop being a customer and start becoming a strategist. Let's start with the first hidden rule. Banks are not designed to help you build wealth. They are designed to preserve their own. When you deposit money, the bank does not lock it away in a vault with your name on it. Legally, that money becomes the bank's property, and they owe you a promise to repay it. This allows banks to lend your money to others at much higher interest rates while paying you a fraction of that return. Historically, average savings account interest rates often fail to keep up with inflation. This means your money quietly loses purchasing power over time, even though the number on your statement looks stable. Inflation is the invisible tax banks rarely explain. If inflation averages 3% annually and your savings earn 0.5%, you are effectively losing money every year. Banks know this. They depend on it. Keeping money idle benefits them, not you. Real wealth grows when money is productive, not parked. The second hidden rule is that debt is not inherently bad. Only consumer debt is. Banks understand this distinction perfectly, but they rarely teach it. There are two primary categories of debt: productive debt and unproductive debt. Productive debt generates income or appreciates in value, such as business loans or real estate under the right conditions. Unproductive debt, like high-interest credit cards or depreciating consumer purchases, drains future income. Banks aggressively market unproductive debt because it is more profitable. Credit cards often carry interest rates exceeding 20% annually. That interest compounds against you month after month. Meanwhile, the bank uses low-interest loans strategically for assets that generate long-term returns. This is not accidental, it's structural. The third hidden rule is that compound interest works both for you and against you, but banks benefit more when it works against you. Albert Einstein is often quoted as calling compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. What is rarely mentioned is that it becomes destructive when attached to debt. A credit card balance that compounds monthly can double in far less time than most people expect. Meanwhile, investment compounding requires time, discipline, and patience, things banks don't profit from teaching. Banks profit when you underestimate time. They want you focused on short-term comfort, not long-term consequences. Every minimum payment keeps you in the system longer. Every delay in investing benefits the institution more than the individual. The fourth hidden rule is that banks rely on financial literacy. This is not a conspiracy, it's an outcome. Most education systems do not teach practical personal finance. Concepts like cash flow, leverage, inflation, risk management, and tax efficiency are often absent. Banks are not obligated to educate you beyond compliance disclosures, and complexity protects them. The more confusing the system feels, the less likely you are to challenge it. Financial freedom begins when you understand cash flow. Wealth is not measured by income alone, but by how much money remains after expenses and how effectively that surplus is deployed. High earners often remain financially trapped because expenses rise with income. Banks encourage this lifestyle inflation through easy credit, financing, and reward programs that psychologically reinforce spending. The fifth hidden rule is that liquidity gives you power, but banks prefer you illiquid. Liquidity means access to cash or assets that can quickly be converted to cash without significant loss. When you are liquid, You can negotiate better deals, handle emergencies without debt, and invest during downturns. Banks, however, benefit when you are dependent, when emergencies force borrowing at unfavorable terms. This is why banks promote long-term debt commitments without teaching exit strategies. Mortgages, auto loans, and personal loans lock future income streams into predictable payments that benefit lenders. While these tools can be used wisely, they are often marketed without emphasizing risk. The sixth hidden rule is that risk is priced, but not evenly explained. Banks carefully assess risk when lending, adjusting interest rates based on creditworthiness, collateral, and economic conditions. Yet individuals are rarely taught how to assess risk in their own financial decisions. Fear becomes the default response, pushing people towards safe savings accounts that slowly lose value instead of diversified investments that historically outperform inflation over long periods. Markets fluctuate, but long-term data shows that diversified investment portfolios, particularly those aligned with economic growth, have outpaced inflation over decades. Banks participate in these markets extensively. Most customers do not. The seventh hidden rule is that taxes shape wealth more than income does. Banks and wealthy individuals understand tax efficiency deeply. Interest income, capital gains, depreciation, and tax-deferred accounts all play roles in preserving wealth. Yet most people only interact with taxes once a year, reactively, instead of strategically. Financial freedom is not about avoiding taxes illegally. It's about understanding how the system rewards certain behaviors. Retirement accounts, business deductions, and long-term investments exist because governments want capital flowing into productive areas of the economy. Banks use these incentives daily. The eighth hidden rule is that time is your most valuable financial asset. Banks profit from delays, delayed learning, delayed investing, delayed action. The earlier money is invested, the more time compounding works in your favor. This is simple math, yet rarely emphasized with urgency. Waiting feels harmless, but it is often the costliest decision. Financial freedom does not require extreme risk or secret tricks. It requires clarity, discipline, and understanding the system as it truly operates. Banks are powerful institutions, but they are not unbeatable. They play by rules. When you learn those rules, you stop being surprised by outcomes. So what does financial freedom actually look like? It means your basic living expenses are covered by income sources that do not require constant labor. It means choices are driven by opportunity, not fear. It means money becomes a tool, not a source of anxiety. This is not achieved overnight. It is built through intentional behavior over time. Start by tracking cash flow honestly. Know exactly where money comes from and where it goes. Build an emergency fund to reduce dependency on high-interest debt. Learn the difference between saving and investing. Study basic financial statements, even for your personal life. Understand interest, inflation, and risk. Most importantly, question assumptions. If a product is heavily marketed, ask who benefits most. If something sounds convenient, examine the long-term cost. Convenience is often expensive when financed. Banks won't tell you these rules because they don't need to. The system works as long as people remain unaware. But awareness changes behavior, and behavior changes outcomes. Financial freedom is not reserved for the elite. It is available to those who learn, adapt, and act consistently. You don't need to reject banks. You need to understand them. Use their tools without becoming dependent on their traps. Knowledge is leverage. Time is momentum. Discipline is protection. And now, you have the rules they didn't want to explain. If this guide helped you see money differently, imagine what consistent financial education can do over time. Subscribe to the channel for more real, data-backed insights on money, wealth, and financial freedom. Because understanding the system is the first step to mastering it.